Good morning, everybody. Daniel Allison, the average dude. So happy that I've got two fantastic co hosts on this Friday. The above average dude, Paul Pappy. Great to have you with me this morning on this Friday morning, dude.
It is great to be here. My head is so large on this screen, it's ridiculous. It's
At
Hey,
least, at
it
least you don't
takes a
look
while.
yellow.
Hey guys, me and Fred have done 473 of these. Y'all have done two or three with us, but hey, it takes a while, right? It takes a while. You get on these podcasts and eventually you get kind of comfortable, right? Right, Aaron?
You do more comfortable. I will say this: I've never been nervous doing one of these with you, Daniel, until I'm on with Paul Pappy.
Oh,
I'm
really?
extreme. I'm extremely nervous to make sure that I bring my A game. This is like Paul and I a couple weeks ago, where I think I faced a 3.5 foot putt for like a double or triple bogey, and my
Okay.
knees were knocking because I wanted to make him proud so bad. I don't remember if I made it or not, but similar. I'm that nervous. I'm that nervous. Just so
Oh
you know.
man, that is super nervous, man. That is a tough to grab the putter nervous. But
Yeah, it
but
is. Yeah.
hey, you guys know each other through the bus. You also do business both here in the upstate. You both are here on First Sip every morning, and we enjoy kind of getting our minds right. So, do you guys drink coffee when Fred and I are up here talking, or is that what y'all do too? Let's do it. Hey, does anybody want to
let's
take the first
go.
sip? Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, Paul.
First sip, let's go.
Thank you, Paul. Oh man, Paul did the best first sip. Let's go of the week. I'm
I
gonna have to
love you,
say,
Freddie. We
yeah,
miss you, Freddie.
Miss you.
yeah.
Miss you.
Freddie is the man. Okay, now I've got to have my coffee here.
I
Yeah.
love his comment to me as well. I sent him a message and I said, "Hey, are you taking suggestions or are you taking maybe options for souvenirs?" You know what his answer was?
What?
Maybe. I don't know what that means. Maybe you're taking a list. Maybe you'll bring me back. So I have no idea which way we're gonna go. So
I was telling Paul, I said, hey, I sent Freddie a message. I said, hey, we miss your energy. We miss your energy. And he sent back, I know. Just just straight cold. Just I wouldn't expect anything less than Freddie. And check our comments. Look up there. What's up, average dude? David Turner. Do you guys know David Turner?
sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he's in the manufacturing space,
Yeah.
and David is doing an incredible job going around and he interviews folks that have machine shops,
Mm.
essentially, right? So he sells metalworking tools and that sort of thing, or attachments, tool kits probably. But yeah, fantastic. Really great to see him doing great things. And hey, we usually have you guys in the comments, and so we're looking in the comments for Paul and Aaron, and they're just not there. And maybe it's Friday, maybe folks are out of town today. What do you think? There's Joe.
I don't
Good
know. I mean,
morning.
we didn't put out the bad signal, so I don't know.
I know, Joe. Great to see Joe this morning. Joe, we wanted you to be on the bus here with us, but I think it took a little longer to get that invite out. There's Vicky Watts. What y'all think of Vicky Watts?
V Dubs.
V Dub.
There she
She's
is,
awesome.
the queen bee of the first sip. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, let me ask you this: what do you think about old Joe? Joe. He is one of the he. I love when he drops those quotes in there. He does a great job with that.
I do
Well,
too. You
Joe is
should you
wise. Yeah.
He is. He's a wise dude. Have you ever been to Boston, Paul Pappy?
Yes, many times.
Have you?
Many times.
Hey, that's a great place. Great place to visit.
A lot
All right.
going on.
Hey, so what I wanted to talk about today is, and I just want to know the first thing that comes to y'all's mind when you see this phrase, okay? Because we can go in a lot of different directions here. Be the hero.
I'm absolutely deferring to Aaron on this.
Oh gosh.
Of course, I think you've got this big, super looking man behind you. I'm thinking a little bit about that. But be the hero. When you think be the hero, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I've had a chance to reflect on that. I had a conversation probably a week or two ago, and we are refrigeration heroes, and yes, we have the opportunity. As I mentioned on Monday, we get the opportunity to fix equipment that needs to be serviced. But sometimes I forget that really, to me, the true hero is that facility manager or that kitchen manager or that owner, the person who's in charge of that facility. They're really truly the hero, that they care enough about their facility and their equipment and whoever their end customer is, whether it's a restaurant and it's their patrons, whether it's a manufacturing plant and they're going directly to customer, or they're going through another company to get to the whatever that may be. But really, I think let's not forget that those facility managers, they're really the true hero, that they think enough of their equipment that they call us or whoever they may be using for their service and their maintenance to do something instead of just putting their head in the sand and hoping that it gets better. Because we all know, Paul and I've talked about this before, hope can't be a strategy. Wish can't be a strategy. You can't hope that your equipment doesn't break. You got to be prepared for when it does. So today I'd like to talk about those facility managers are really truly the hero to me.
I love that. Paul Pappy, what comes to mind? Now, you may think about a fireman, you may think about a movie, or you may go straight to who's got your money, like Aaron Jacobitz did. Just kidding there.
I think it's really easy to say, well, being the hero means you come in and save the day. But I think being a hero to somebody or a group of people or a community involves you standing out because of your character, standing out because of your conduct, your integrity, how you represent the community in your word and action. So being the hero means you're standing out from everybody else. You're kind of that fixed point of leadership. You are representative of virtue.
I like that. I like that. When I started thinking about hero, and we didn't prepare for this, I knew you guys could kind of just organic flow with me here. But when I think about hero, I think about we want to be the hero of our own story. Have you guys heard that before? So I think before we go visit the facility manager or go do anything else, we can look at our own story, our own day, and say, hey, how can I be the hero of my day? Do you guys have any thoughts on how we might be able to be the hero of our own story or write our own story? Anything come to mind with that? And then I want to go exactly where you went, Aaron, because it's a great point with facility managers and how we can use these things to make them the hero.
Really, I think when you look at your day, I think the heroism comes with how you react and what you do when the plan that you had set doesn't go the way that you had intended. And to me, I think setting a plan for your day and executing that day, that's one thing. That's hard enough. That takes enough focus and dedication to get that done. But what happens when that doesn't happen the way that you had anticipated? And to me, that's where being a hero is how can I adjust? How can I pivot? How can I go in a different direction and still be able to do the things that we need to do with and for the people that we committed to do those things with and for?
Man, to me, what I just heard, being the hero for me is overcoming the resistance to do the right thing, to do the thing that I should do.
Mm-hmm.
If I can overcome that resistance, I'm going to be the hero of my day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and that might be work, that might be calling someone that I need to call. It might be just simply doing something that I don't want to do. And that's really what I like about, and the reason that I do First Sip, and I like being around people. Like, we need that extra energy and those reminders to be the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, what are you thinking?
Well, I think that we're in an age where everybody's watching you all the time. And they're looking for you to slip up. They're looking for the guy who's standing like this all the time to fall down. And
Yeah.
I think those moments when you persevere, when the pressure is doubled, when your workload is doubled, that's when everybody's really got eyes on you and they want to see how you're going to respond. And so I think being a leader or a hero of your day lets people know that it doesn't matter what Paul Pappy is experiencing. He's not going to let all that show. He's going to keep advancing. And so I think putting that extra discipline, that extra fortitude into pushing through those tough times is really that example.
That's a great point. Great
That
point.
is. I like that, Paul. That Julie gets, speaking of having eyes on you, ooh, I get to see the infamous Paul Pappy in action. We all
what?
do.
See why I'm nervous?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
heavens. I mean, with those types of comments, and we got Julie talking about the infamous Paul Pappy, man, oh, man, I'm a nervous wreck over here.
Hey, fortunately, you've got a hero behind you, to make you a little stronger there. While we're talking about it, y'all saw what Julie's doing, and you guys have been involved in business in the upstate for a long time. We talked about workforce development the other day. Mm-hmm. And what are y'all's experiences as you're talking to folks about that conversation in general? Did anything, if depending on what you heard about it, the workforce situation is a situation that's a big problem in the upstate, and getting the right people into the right jobs. We've got great people that are looking for a job, and then great employers that are looking for great people, and they can't find each other. So it's an interesting problem. I'm sorry to digress. We were talking heroes, but then I thought workforce development. But does anything come to mind?
Well, what I feel was what I feel was heroic, and I made a comment. Respectfully, I think with Julie and with the folks that you had on, I think that was probably my favorite and the best First Sip episode that I've experienced. It was absolutely amazing. It dug into the emotions of this theme, Daniel, that you've had with the human game that a lot of the First Sips have played off of. But I can't even, I don't know that I could focus on one point of that. It just, there was a ignition of the human game and people and passion for people based on that First Sip episode, at least for me.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Paul, did you have anything that you wanted to add there?
Well, Vicky Watts actually had made a comment during that episode that not everybody is good, but you can develop them into good. And that just kind of resonated with me since that episode because I'm hiring right now. I look at the staff that we have. I've had a lot of guys retire with me after 14 to 17 years. This is a good place to work amidst the chaos. And I think that has a lot to do with how much you trust your people to take what you've given them and turn it into an autonomous role. And after a while, you start to see that dependency on the master cog in the wheel to be less of a master cog, that we're all just part of the same machine. We're doing the same work. We're helping each other. And I think that speaks to development. When you don't have to watch what everybody else is doing and your business is safe, that's a piece that a lot of business owners may never get to experience. Mm-hmm. So if you're developing your people properly, you're pouring into them, even when you have nothing to pour, then they're going to trust you. And so it really does become a family unit. And I think that could be true regardless of the size of your business.
I agree. I mean, it really is. I just feel like with artificial intelligence coming in, just something you said there, you said it really well, but really the humans, I feel like, are going to need to come together, like more collaborative. Our human skills, and that's the reason that I talk about it so much, things are going to change. The ways in which we need these humans to perform may not be exactly what it is right now, but you're still going to need the human beings to do whatever it is that we do.
Yeah.
And so it's important for all these things, because shoot, everything that we were saying, we were talking about folks that might have been in a situation where they're trying to get, we're all in that situation, right? We all need stability. We all need to grow. We're all facing resistance. We all face temptations of various kinds, right?
Mhm.
And so I agree that, and it's funny. I thought that we had a great group of people to add to that conversation from different perspectives. And that's what I really try to capture. I think, you had Rachel's passion, you had Trent from kind of a boots on the ground, working with those folks. And then, of course, Julie's initiative as well. So those types of combos I really enjoy. So
Well, you think about what Julie has to do in development on her side. It's not just her team, but it's the people she's helping. She has to redevelop their perception of the community in which they live, because maybe they've been victimized by that community.
exactly.
And they got to figure out how they fit back in after being released from that.
Gosh, and we, go ahead.
So I went back and looked at a note that I made. What stuck out to me was, you mentioned AI coming in and what it's able to do. But I took a note. It makes me think that the human connection in a human game is going to be less the more AI comes in. We're going to have less opportunity to play that human game and have that human connection. But when we do, we got to make it count. When we have that eyeball to eyeball, that face to face, and we have that proximity, and we have that human connection, and we're playing that human game, Daniel and Paul, we have to, our at bats are going to get less. We've got to make sure that we make each of those count.
And that's something that I've been thinking and looking at a lot. I completely agree. And I've mentioned this to Freddie. I'd love to get y'all's thoughts on it, but Grant Cardone changed the sales industry when it came to the car business when the internet came around. In the 90s, there was more information about NADA value. You couldn't just snowball someone into buying a car and not, they're going to have some information. But now that's changed even more with AI. I can know everything about kitchen equipment. I can know everything about all my janitorial supplies or whatever it is I'm ordering from Paul Pappy. I can know how the game is played up one side and down the other. And so when, just what Aaron said, when we are in that box, we have to establish trust quickly. We have to connect quickly. We have to be on our human game, because we have to differentiate between, because it's fair now, right? I mean, they can get the information. Nobody's got the knowledge that the other person doesn't have. So it's going to make it very, very interesting when we get that opportunity, how we are able to handle the truth of our product, right?
100%.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to shake out pretty close. I mean, and we have to just be able to face that. And I think that's something that's going to be coming pretty quickly. And it doesn't matter if you're an attorney or HVAC or whatever it is that you're doing, people will have the knowledge. So interesting times. But I do want to kind of move now, Aaron, into what you are talking about, and making the facility manager, and let's just talk about facility managers. Let's talk about making the facility manager the hero. And that's a great thought. We all know Trent McJunkin. And as I got to know Trent more and more, I realized, hey, so I know Paul's been the hero for Trent many times. He says, man, you call Paul Pappy and he's going to step up to the plate and make something happen. So let Paul first, let's comment on that, kind of being the hero for them when they need someone.
Well, the interesting thing about that whole scenario is that Trent is really a hero to me too, simply because he's walked me through the door. He's made some introductions for me that have led me to be able to become a hero for somebody else.
That's
and I
right.
think when we're talking about herodom, stewardship is a huge part of that. I think that you've got to develop yourself to give yourself a reputation for being connectable, somebody that is eager and interested in solving problems, real problems. And that's kind of what separates us from the AI is that sentient connection that we have to other human beings. There's nothing artificial about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that piece of us cannot be replaced. And so,
Absolutely.
I think it's super cool the way that Trent and I got introduced to each other and kind of how that relationship has bloomed over the last few months and how we end up having common interests. He and I went on a tandem appointment in Columbia the other day on Wednesday. And it was just listening to him speak about his product, about how he can serve that company was it was seamless. It just rolled off his tongue. You're like, man, there are so many things that you could say at this particular moment, but everything you have chosen is applicable.
Oh, absolutely. And I clipped out, but I heard enough to know Trent McJunkin's the real deal, right? And so when you
Absolutely.
have someone that's the real deal, you know it. We feel it. You know that he knows his stuff, he believes it, and he puts those things into practice. I remember when I met him, he said that he had a poster on his wall. He said something about the endless pursuit of perfection, that kind of quote. And I thought, yeah, a lot of people put that sort of thing on their wall. And then I realized, no, he puts it up there and he really tries to have it. The goal is to have the greatest facility that he can have. That was at Oshkosh. So I really like that. But thinking about that, thinking about someone like Trent, it really started to help me think about what Aaron said earlier. We want those guys work hard and they don't want to make the wrong decision. They want to pick the right company, no problems, and they want to be the doggone hero when they go into the conference room and have to face the plant manager and the executives that came in. So how do you try to make them the hero? How do you try to make the facility manager the hero, Aaron? What comes to mind?
First thing that comes to mind is do everything you can that they don't have to do double work. Do everything you can that they don't have to call a second company. Do everything you can that they don't want to get a second opinion. They don't want to have to get a second opinion. One thing that I've learned about facility managers is their workload and their capacity is full anyway. When you start having to double and triple the same tasks or the same jobs or the same whatever it is that you're doing, that doesn't help anybody. So them having the confidence in the company that they're using, in my case, for servicing or maintaining their equipment or for their their supplies and the things that they need to operate. If you're a Paul Pappy, it's being able to do something once, and it's not being able to trust and count on your service partner or another company that you're doing business with once. It's over and over and over again. And that was something that Trent really instilled in me is it's that consistency that drives the better facility and that facility manager being a hero. What drives that is the consistency, job in, job out, day in, day out, when they can have that trust and that relationship.
I like it. Paul Pappy, what comes to mind?
All right. After Aaron's answer, just refresh me again what I'm supposed to be thinking about right now, and I'll give you a great answer.
Hey, I love that. That's what I talk about, handling the truth.
Yeah.
We're talking about facility managers and how to make them the hero. And so if a Trent McJunkin or anybody, how can we man, now I'm going to lose my train of thought, guys.
I'm telling you, Aaron's answer was so thorough. It was just
It was like a vacuum. It was a vortex of all the intellectual property and thought. It just consumed it.
Well, while you regain, can I mention one thing about Trent McJunkin?
Please.
Let me give you guys a chance
and
to
we are
refresh.
not getting paid by Trent McJunkin, at least
we're
not yet.
But Paul mentioned, and I think Daniel, you mentioned it too, Trent being the real deal.
Yeah.
one of the most amazing things that I've seen in my relationship with Trent McJunkin is not only is Trent McJunkin the real deal, but when he tells his contacts that so-and-so's the real deal and that they should be looked at as a partner, the look on their face is Trent endorses this person. If Trent says, let me tell you something, Paul Pappy's the real deal, because Trent's the real deal, all he has to say is Paul's the real deal. And Paul, from a proximity and from a relationship and a credibility and a trust standpoint, he's probably 70% there just with that. That was one of the most amazing things. I was at a conference with Trent back probably 5 or 6 months ago. And the way that room paid attention to everything that Trent said and was about is incredible.
Put himself out there. A lot of people know him, and so they know that his name means something. And I agree with you. It's and that's a powerful thing. Paul Pappy.
Yeah, so it's not limited on my side just to facility managers, but in speaking to managers in general.
Yeah.
We're already overtasked. We're probably understaffed. We're probably under resourced, and we're under tremendous pressure to meet deadline after deadline and manage all of our people. So when Sunfast is looking at an opportunity to come in and really fix something, there's always going to be some intangibles that go with that. And part of those intangibles is that trust piece. I know I can call Paul Pappy and that Paul Pappy will show up. I know Paul Pappy's yes means yes and his no means no. And at the end of the day, I think that's a lot of what people are looking for is that reliability, that repeatability. It's the same thing as directions on the back of a shampoo bottle. If at first it's not clean, lather, rinse, repeat. So,
absolutely.
It's something as simple as, like Aaron said, thinking about the things that they don't have time to think about, the stuff that falls in the cracks. We have to live in the cracks. We have to be able to pull out whatever's fallen into the cracks and bring it back into the light and deal with it. Because just because it's in the cracks and you can't see it doesn't mean it's not a mess.
Oh,
yeah, that's good.
Hey, Paul, can we talk offline later today about whatever this shampoo stuff that you talk about? I'm not familiar with I'm not familiar with what that's actually going to do. I'm not sure what you're lathering and rinsing. Obviously, I would have no idea about shampoo.
I'm going to leave that one alone, and I'm going to say this. We talked about it yesterday, seeing the customer and understanding, showing them that you see them. So if you walk into a Trent McJunkin-like facility, and when we say Trent McJunkin-like facility, just someone that cares. We know different levels of folks and their business and the energy around their business. Some people take it a little more serious than others. You can almost feel that in the way in which they conduct themselves. But if we pick up on little things like that, and then we acknowledge that, man, I can see that you really take extra care of your facility. I love to see that. What are some of the extra things that folks are doing that you like to see? Now we've validated them and we get them to talking about other vendors that they love. And now, well, who do you need to be? Just like the other vendors, you know?
Yep.
And so we can, when we see them and we get them to talking, these are clues about how to present the truth of our product and service. That's the way I kind of think about that. What's coming to your mind, Aaron? I see you thinking.
One of the most powerful questions I think that we can utilize, especially with facility managers, is, help me understand, Trent, what a great vendor looks like to you. Help me understand how vendors can help you when you go into that facility management meeting. Like, help me understand what is going to make you and your facility stand out and what's already going good. What does good look like?
I can see Aaron being very good at that, by the way. I think you are a very good, once you get in the room with a facility manager, who you are and the way you present. I can see what, can't you, Paul? Can't you see that
Absolutely.
kind of, I mean, and I've seen it, I've heard it from Trent and that sort of thing. What do you think that is? If I know you try to train your folks to have that, what is it that you think that you do well in that situation, Aaron, just to kind of toot your own horn here?
Oh gosh. I think the opportunities that I get to help the decision maker, whatever it is, let's call it a facility manager, make them feel congratulated on all of the great decisions that they have made and they make day in and day out.
Yeah.
And I think where the mistake is, I think business development, sales, marketing, when you're out trying to gain new business or grow a customer or a facility for more business, I think too many times we make the mistake of focusing on what's not going well. And for me, if a facility manager can feel like a vendor is congratulating them on all of the 85% of their day that they got right, the great decisions that they've made, and how can we help, like Paul mentioned, the things that fall into cracks. 85% of everything this facility manager does is fantastic. That facility manager, all he probably has heard that day is that 15% that didn't go well. How can we help alleviate some of that 15%? But I want you to know that you're doing an amazing job. And if there's anything that we can do to make it a little more amazing, let me know.
That is in my estimation, if you're calling on facility managers, and I think every situation is different, but their boss is beating them up. A lot of salespeople want to create pain. These guys don't want any more pain. If you're a facility manager, the last thing you want is pain. And so I love that answer, because a lot of times we try to get our product or service in by almost like a scare tactic, like, oh man, you're not doing this right. We need to get in here. There's pain. You're doing something wrong. I agree with the logic there.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
And also the short answer is, if you have a vendor that you're happy with and what your definition of what great looks like, they're providing that to you, I'm not going to go in and bash them and tell you why you need to change from them.
Oh yeah.
Then you need to stick with that. And not every customer is going to be our customer. Not every facility is going to do business with Refrigeration Heroes, and that's okay, because the goal is not to have every facility do business with Refrigeration Hero. The goal is for that facility to be running the way that it should be running. And if it's not Refrigeration Heroes that's a part of that, that's okay. If we can help in any way, we can. So I think your short answer is really making the facility managers understand that what they're doing has a value and they're doing good. They're doing a great job. But then also, you might not be our customer, and that's okay, because things are good for you, and that's really what matters.
I love it. And this is what I mean about like handling the truth, and it's got to be real. This is my customer. This is who I prefer to work with. We're not just saying these things to create leverage, because if you are, I can feel it, and Paul can feel it. People know when someone's desperate. People know when they're not speaking from the heart. People know when they're trying to build rapport just because they read a book that says to ask them about where they went to college. We want to be real. We want to be swimming in truth. Vicky Watts has a comment about Paul Pappy. This might hurt a little bit. This will hurt like one of Freddie's jabs to the dude. Paul Pappy, you are the man. Wow. I mean, hey, it doesn't get any better than that. I actually want one of those comments now.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Julie. You guys are awesome.
Daniel, I might log out of and go on as a guest and make a comment. Like I might do that. Yeah.
That would be awesome. Let's see what Julie said. She says, Aaron loved the humor deflection. It's really all about Daniel's hair. There it is.
It's always about Daniel's hair.
I got a little validate. Freddie will be glad to know that I got a little validation on this Friday. Well, hey,
I
hey
do
guys,
want to make one. I do want
please,
to make one quick comment.
please.
And this
Yes,
is to
please.
piggyback off what Aaron said. So I think that
Yeah,
the weight of failure is exponentially higher than the weight of success. And so to really be that hero, to lift some of that weight of failure off of somebody really accentuates the success. So,
yeah,
it's like one of those adrenaline moments. Kid stuck under a car, and all you hear about the guy that lifted up the car off the kid in the heat of the moment. That's superhero action. Not just the saving the kid, but the lifting of the car.
I love it.
It defies human principle, but it happens. And so I think if we can figure out that little edge where we can defy that human principle
Mm.
and be that extra, I mean, it doesn't have to be all the time. It just has to be at the right situation. You have to have situational awareness to know when to step in and explode beyond your own limits.
I love that, and there's such a satisfaction and a kind of a momentum building when we start kind of looking for those things and we give energy, but then we get that energy back, and we just become a self-perpetuating engine for doing good, and then we go and we see that facility manager, and all those things come natural. And that's why I like to think, you get on here and you talk about sales, you talk about motivation, you get a little energy. Well, we want good culture because when we feel good, we're effective in what we do. And if we can have a little virtual culture where we're also getting to meet people and talk to people, that's what we're trying to create with something like this, because we need to get our mind right so that we can be the hero for ourselves and for others. So I want to know here before we close out. I asked the folks yesterday this one. Close us out with what at this stage in the game, we're all about the same age. What do you guys love? Maybe it's business, maybe it's playing golf. What's the ideal situation for what really lights you up these days, right? What do you really enjoy doing at this time of your life? Aaron Jacobitz, should I start with you or Paul Pappy?
Your show.
Aaron,
Oh,
Aaron
Aaron,
Jake,
come on.
I'm gonna let it simmer in Paul's mind. He's gonna close us out. Aaron.
I've really gotten into camping videos and camping like as a hobby. I haven't actually executed a lot of camping,
Yeah.
but I've really I really enjoy videos and how to's and things about being in the woods and creating shelter and create I'm from Florida, so I've loved fishing my whole life, so that's easy. But really, I mean, I love golf, but I would say outside of that, that's something that's really started piquing my interest.
I love that, Aaron. And there's so many little gadgets and things, and you can, oh man, that's a cool little thing. If you ever really get into it, it's kind of like
Mm-hmm.
golf. There's always
Right.
something to buy. So it's kind of neat. Paul Pappy, what lights Paul Pappy up these days?
Well, as soon as the time changes, it's always golf.
Yeah.
But like Aaron, I study the game. I watch a lot of videos on golf. I study shot shape. I study trajectories. I study barometric pressure. I study all that stuff that goes into how I'm going to approach the game. I think that golf is probably one of the greatest chess matches between you and yourself.
Mm.
It's never in fact you versus your opponent. You have to get through your own head junk in order to make the swing happen. There's 24 points in a golf swing. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. There's too much to think about.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Yeah.
but I love being outside. I love being with people. I love pursuing not perfection because that's just unattainable on every level, but progress. I love chasing progress. And I think that golf is one of the eternal measurements of your ineptitude.
Absolutely. And hey, you use some of the best words. I need a thesaurus nearby when Paul Pappy is around, just to
That's
help
my
me get
favorite
there.
dinosaur.
Yeah, not it. Hey, this has been fantastic. Julie says camping is the best. You're the best, Julie. And Joe, you didn't see the invite, but I wanted you to be a part of this one. We'll get Joe on soon. And if you're out there and you're listening, you say, hey, I wanted to be on the bus, let me know. And also, I can't have everybody every time, right? So, hey, this has been fantastic. Thanks so much. See you next
Thank
week.
you guys.
Happy
Have a great
Friday,
Bye.